What if the United States adopted an imperial system of government? The transition of the United States from a democratic republic to an imperial system would be an event of great impact, both domestically and globally. To understand its causes, development and consequences, it is necessary to analyze the possible factors that would lead to this transformation, the processes by which the new regime would be consolidated, and the implications it would have for the country and the world. Dear time travelers and lovers of eternal stories, I am Messalina, and I have a little secret for you. The gods reward those who support their favorite storytellers. If this corner of myths, legends and mysteries has sparked your curiosity, I invite you to follow my channel and activate the bell so you don't miss a single trip through time. And if you want this legacy to grow and continue exploring together the greatness of Rome and beyond, you can leave your offering on PayPal or Patreon. The links are in the description, because even the gods know that any help allows for the forging of eternal works. I promise you that if you do, the gods will bring you peace, prosperity, and perhaps a little touch of fate. Your gestures do not go unnoticed, and my gratitude will be as infinite as time itself. Causes: why would the United States become an empire? Such a radical change would not occur without deep and long-standing reasons. Among the factors that could lead to an imperial transition are: prolonged political crisis. The United States has experienced increasing political polarization in recent decades, with internal conflicts deepening. A two-party system in crisis, growing distrust in institutions and fractured governance could lead parts of the population to seek stability in a strong, centralized figure. Collapse of the democratic system. The deterioration of the American democratic model could be accelerated by several factors. Corruption and distrust in the electoral process, where citizens perceive that elections do not reflect the popular will. A paralyzed legislative system, with constant blockages and disputes that prevent the government from functioning efficiently. Loss of rights and freedoms, eroding the Constitution to the point where Congress and the Supreme Court lose relevance. Economic and social crisis. A financial collapse or economic depression similar to that of 1929 could lead the population to accept authoritarian solutions in search of order and prosperity. Mass unemployment, uncontrolled inflation, or the collapse of the dollar as a global currency could give rise to a government with extraordinary powers. Internal and external threats. The perception of an existential threat, whether a war with China, a nuclear conflict with Russia, or a devastating climate crisis, could be used as a justification for the creation of an imperial government on the grounds of national security. Emergence of a charismatic and autocratic leader. The emergence of a populist leader with broad popular support, who promises to restore the country's glory and who disregards democratic restrictions, could facilitate the transition to a dictatorship disguised as an empire. If he succeeds in accumulating enough power and weakening democratic institutions, the next step would be to consolidate an imperial government. 2. Development of the process. How would the empire be established? If the United States were to move toward an imperial system, the process would not be immediate, but would occur in several phases. Progressive erosion of democracy. Initially, the government would begin to increase its powers through decrees, limitations on Congress and restrictions on the press. This would be justified under the argument of efficiency and national security. Centralization of executive power. The president would assume special powers, dismantling the balance between the three branches of government. Congress would lose autonomy and the Supreme Court could be restructured to support the new form of government. Militarization of society. An imperial government would require a strong military structure to consolidate its rule. Internal control would be strengthened by authoritarian measures such as a system of mass surveillance, repression of opposition and censorship. Transformation of the office of president to emperor. With democracy dismantled and power centralized, the leader could eliminate elections and declare himself ruler for life under the pretext of ensuring stability. To consolidate his power, he would adopt titles similar to those of Roman emperors, such as imperator or supreme leader. Propaganda and ideological control. The official narrative would present the empire as a natural evolution of American greatness. Propaganda would be used to indoctrinate the population and prevent uprisings, promoting a national identity based on pride, technological supremacy, and global expansion. 3. Consequences for the United States and the world. Once the empire was established, the implications would be enormous both domestically and globally. Internal consequences. Total loss of freedoms. The Constitution would be abolished or severely modified. Freedoms of expression, press and assembly would be eliminated or restricted. Political and social caste system. Power would be concentrated in the ruling elite, while citizens would have limited access to opportunities and benefits. War economy. With increasing state control, the economy would focus on military production and expansionism. Resistance and civil conflict. Not everyone would accept the change. Internal resistance groups would emerge, causing conflicts and rebellions, which would be suppressed with brutality. Global consequences. The establishment of an empire in the United States would have an unprecedented geopolitical impact. Expansion of the new empire. An imperial United States would try to expand its influence through wars or territorial annexations. Allied countries such as Canada or Mexico could be forced to join the empire or become vassal states. UN breakup and international alliances. Global institutions would collapse or become mere instruments of the empire. The UN, NATO, and other international bodies would lose relevance or be dissolved. Resistance of foreign powers. Other world powers, such as China, Russia, and the European Union, would try to resist the empire's dominance. This could trigger a new Cold War or even a Third World War. End of the dollar as a global currency. In the face of imperial dominance, other nations would seek economic alternatives. China, for example, could lead an alternative financial bloc based on the digital yuan. Unprecedented military and technological development. With unrestricted government and an unlimited budget, the United States would advance artificial intelligence, biotechnology, space weapons, and genetic manipulation to strengthen the empire. 4. Final scenarios. How would the empire end? Every empire has a rise and a fall. Possible ways this new regime would collapse include: internal revolution. Citizens, tired of authoritarianism, may overthrow the emperor and restore democracy. Defeat in a world war. A coalition of nations could face and defeat the empire in a global conflict. Disintegration due to economic crisis. If the economic model is not sustained, the empire could collapse from within. Decline and fragmentation. Over time, different regions might declare independence and break up what was once the American empire. An imperial system in the United States would completely alter the world order. Its emergence could be driven by political, economic, and military crises, and its consolidation would depend on the charisma of an autocratic leader. The transformation would result in a dictatorship with global dominance or an unprecedented international war. However, like all empires in history, its ultimate fate would probably be decline and collapse.